The millionaire saw the blood, realized she was a virgin, and then did something no one would ever do. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's get into the story. Our main character, Lily, walked into the restaurant, feeling out of place. She had never been to a fancy place like this before. The warm lighting, the polished floors, and the crisp white tablecloths made her feel like a fish out of water. She pulled at the sleeves of her simple dress and scanned the room. This wasn't her world, but she was here for a reason. She had promised her best friend, Sarah, that she'd show up for the blind date, and here she was. She took a deep breath, looking for the table she was supposed to sit at. Table 7, her phone buzzed with a reminder. She muttered the table number to herself, hoping she wouldn't mess this up. As she made her way to the back of the room, her heart began to pound. She noticed a man sitting alone at a table, his gaze fixed on his phone. He was well-dressed, wearing a sleek black suit, his dark hair neatly styled. This had to be him. Taking another deep breath, she approached him, forcing a smile. "Hi, you must be Kevin. I'm Lily. Nice to meet you." The man looked up at her, startled. For a moment, there was confusion in his eyes, followed by a quick hesitation. Hi, Lily," he stammered, clearly caught off guard. He had been expecting someone else. Lily misread his shock as shyness and slid into the chair across from him. She tried to make small talk, hoping to ease the tension. "I know this is awkward. Blind dates are weird, right? Sarah told me you might be a little shy, but don't worry, I'm great at filling the silence." The man opened his mouth to say something, but stopped, his eyes scanning her face. Something about her earnest smile made him hesitate. He decided to play along. "Right. Blind dates are definitely something else," he said with a faint smile. Lily laughed nervously, trying to keep the conversation flowing. She sipped her water, avoiding eye contact as she fidgeted with the napkin on the table. "So, what do you do, Kevin?" she asked, trying to sound casual. "I'm in tech," he replied, his voice calm but distant. "Tech? That's cool. Like coding and apps and stuff?" "I'm terrible with computers," she said with a small chuckle. He smiled faintly, but didn't offer much else. It was clear he wasn't very open about himself, and she assumed he was just a quiet type. As the dinner progressed, she shared stories about her life, her struggles with paying rent, and her dream of one day owning her own art studio. The conversation flowed surprisingly well, but there was something odd about it. She couldn't quite put her finger on it, but there was an undercurrent of mystery surrounding him. She didn't know why, but she felt a strange pull toward him, as if there was more to this man than met the eye. She was starting to feel comfortable with him, which was a first on a blind date. But then, her phone buzzed again. "Hey Lily, where are you?" "I'm at table 7. Can't wait to meet you." Lily froze as she reread the message. Her face flushed with embarrassment. She looked up at the man, her heart sinking. "Wait, you're not Kevin, are you?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. He smiled faintly, a look of guilt flashing in his eyes. "No, I'm not," he admitted, clearly uncomfortable. Lily's stomach churned as the reality of the situation hit her. She had sat at the wrong table. "Oh my God," she muttered, standing abruptly. "I'm so sorry. I sat at the wrong table." Without waiting for a response, she grabbed her coat and bolted for the door, her face burning with humiliation. The man watched her leave, a strange mix of regret and curiosity swirling in his chest. He had intended to correct her from the beginning, but now he found himself wondering why he didn't. Why did the thought of her running away bother him so much? Meanwhile, Lily rushed out of the restaurant, her mind reeling with embarrassment. She had never been good at these things. But this time, there was something different about him, something that made her feel both excited and nervous. And now, all she could think about was how she had messed it up. But the night wasn't over yet. Little did she know, this mistake would change her life forever. I know it sounds crazy, but here's the twist. Lily rushed out of the restaurant, her heart pounding, her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. The night had started off so well, but now she was sure she had just blown it. She kept her head down as she hurried down the street, her mind racing. What had she done? She had been so sure he was the one, but now it turned out she had made a huge mistake. She had sat at the wrong table, and it was a moment she would not soon forget. Her phone buzzed again, and she took a deep breath, trying to calm herself before looking at the message. It was from Sarah, her best friend, who had set up the blind date. "Lily, what happened? Is he cute? Let me know everything." Lily sighed, running a hand through her hair. How could she explain this? She had just run out of the restaurant like a fool. She hit reply and typed a short message. "I'll explain later. I messed up." She didn't know why, but something about the whole situation had left her unsettled. As she walked, she felt a sudden tug on her sleeve. She turned to see the man from the restaurant standing behind her. Liam, she remembered. His face was a little more serious now, but his eyes still held that same curiosity from earlier. "Lily, wait," he called out. She froze, unsure of what to do. He had come after her? "Look, I'm really sorry about earlier. I should have told you, but I was. I don't know, caught off guard," he said, a slight smile tugging at his lips. "I should have stopped you before you ran off." Lily looked at him, still confused. Why would he chase after her? She had thought he was just another businessman, too busy and too detached to care. But now, seeing him here, she wasn't so sure. She paused, unsure whether to apologize or laugh at the whole situation. "It's okay, I'm not used to this whole blind date thing, you know," she said, trying to break the tension. Liam nodded. "I get it. Honestly, I wasn't expecting it either. But, I'm really glad you didn't leave completely. I've never had someone run out on me like that." Lily couldn't help but smile. Was this guy for real? So, what now? She asked. Her nerves finally easing just a little bit. "How about coffee?" he suggested, his voice soft, genuine. "Just to clear the air." Lily hesitated. Coffee? She hadn't expected this. But there was something about him, something real. Maybe it was his calm demeanor, or the way he seemed to be genuinely concerned. "Sure, I could use some coffee," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. They walked together to a nearby cafe, a cozy little spot just down the street. The barista greeted them with a friendly smile, and they sat by the window, the city lights twinkling outside. As they sipped their coffee, the conversation flowed easier than before. They talked about their lives, their dreams, and their struggles. Liam didn't seem like the typical rich businessman. He wasn't trying to impress her with his wealth or connections. He was just Liam. The man who had been caught in a mix-up, just like her. And Lily found herself opening up more than she ever thought she would. She shared her dreams of becoming a painter, how she had been working 2 jobs to get by, and how hard it was to balance everything. "I've always wanted to open my own gallery," she said, looking down at her coffee. "But with the way things are going, it feels like a dream that might never come true." Liam listened quietly, nodding. "You'll get there," he said after a moment. "I believe in people who don't give up." Lily looked up at him, surprised by his words. He was just a stranger, someone she had sat next to by mistake, and yet there was something so reassuring in his voice. She smiled, feeling a warmth she hadn't felt in a long time. "Thanks," she said softly. They continued talking, laughing about small things, enjoying the easy comfort that had developed between them. Lily didn't know how or why, but she felt like she could trust him. "You're not what I expected," she said, her smile playful. "I thought you were just some corporate guy. But now I can see there's more to you." Liam raised an eyebrow, a playful glint in his eyes. "And what did you expect?" he asked. Lily paused for a moment, considering his question. "I don't know," she said with a shrug. "I guess I expected someone who wouldn't really care about anything other than work. But you seem different." Liam smiled, the corners of his mouth lifting slightly. "I guess I'm full of surprises." They both fell silent for a moment, the sound of the city drifting through the window. Lily felt a strange sense of calm in that moment. It was like the tension from earlier had melted away. Maybe this wasn't such a bad night after all. As they finished their coffee, Liam stood up, holding out his hand. "I'm really sorry about the mix-up," he said again. "But I'm glad we could still talk." Lily looked at his hand, then up at him. "Me too," she replied. And just like that, the night didn't feel like a mistake anymore. It felt like the beginning of something else, something that could change everything. I know this may sound unbelievable, but here's where the story gets even more interesting. The next few days passed in a blur for Lily, with work, errands, and barely any time to catch her breath. But there was one thing that kept pulling at her thoughts: the man from the cafe, Liam. They hadn't seen each other since their coffee date, but somehow, she couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted between them. Despite her best efforts to stay focused, the memory of their conversation lingered in the back of her mind. It was like a quiet whisper that told her, maybe this could be something more. Meanwhile, Liam couldn't stop thinking about Lily either. Ever since their coffee date, he'd been distracted, unable to fully focus on his work. She had been so genuine, so different from the women he usually met, people who saw him for his wealth or his status. Lily, on the other hand, didn't know who he really was. She didn't care about his money, or the fact that he was a millionaire tech CEO. She was just herself. He found that refreshing. What was more, he could tell she was passionate about her art, even though she didn't have the resources to make her dream of opening an art gallery come true. That passion for something beyond the mundane had struck a chord with him, and he found himself wondering how he could help her. The next time they saw each other was unexpected. It was a rainy afternoon, and Lily had just finished a shift at the cafe when she spotted Liam outside. He was standing in the rain, his suit jacket soaking wet, looking like he had been waiting for someone. She froze for a moment, unsure of what to do, but then, as if on instinct, she walked toward him. "Liam?" she called out, hesitant. He turned to look at her, and a smile spread across his face. "Lily," he said, as if he had been waiting for her. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice curious. Liam didn't answer right away, his gaze lingering on her before he spoke. "I've been thinking about our last conversation," he said, his tone serious but warm. "I know I probably caught you off guard that day, but I want to make it right." Lily raised an eyebrow, still unsure of where this was going. "Make it right?" she repeated, a little confused. Liam nodded, then stepped closer to her, holding out a small envelope. "This is an invitation to an art show I'm sponsoring next week. I know it's not much, but I wanted to help you get your foot in the door, to see your art get the recognition it deserves." Lily blinked, taken aback by his gesture. "Wait, you're sponsoring an art show?" she asked, surprised. Liam smiled and nodded. "I know it's not exactly what you envisioned, but I thought you might like the opportunity to showcase your work. It's a small start, but it's something." Lily's heart raced as she looked at him, the rain softly falling around them. She didn't know what to say at first. Part of her felt overwhelmed, like she couldn't believe someone so successful would be offering her this kind of chance. But there was also something else, something deeper that told her he wasn't just offering her a chance to display her art. He was offering something more. "Thank you," she said finally, her voice quiet but sincere. "I don't know what to say." Liam looked at her, his expression softening. "You don't have to say anything. I just want to help." There was something about the way he said it, something that made Lily feel like he meant it, like he wasn't just doing it out of obligation. There was genuine care behind his words. They stood there for a few moments, the rain still falling, but neither of them seemed to mind. Finally, Lily spoke again, her voice barely above a whisper. "Why are you doing this?" Liam didn't answer right away. Instead, he seemed to search her face, as if considering how much to reveal. "Because, Lily," he said slowly, his voice soft, "I believe in you. I've seen a lot of things in my life, but there's something about you, about your passion for your art, that I can't ignore. I want to see you succeed." Lily didn't know what to say. She had always struggled with believing in herself, always thinking she wasn't good enough or that her dreams were too far out of reach. But the way Liam looked at her like he truly believed in her made her wonder if maybe, just maybe, she could make it happen. "I don't know if I can ever repay you for this," she said softly, looking down at the envelope in her hands. "But I promise I'll make the most of it." Liam smiled, his eyes warm. "You don't have to repay me. Just show me your art, Lily. That's all I ask." The rain began to fall harder, but for the first time in a long time, Lily didn't feel afraid of what the future might hold. She had been given a chance and opportunity to make her dream come true, and she wasn't going to let it slip away. And as for Liam, she couldn't help but wonder if this was just the beginning of something much bigger between them. I know it might sound unbelievable, but this is where the story truly begins to take shape. Lily couldn't stop thinking about the invitation Liam had given her. It wasn't just about the art show, it was the way he had spoken to her, the way he seemed to see something in her that she hadn't seen in herself. The next few days were a whirlwind for her as she prepared for the art show. She spent late nights in her small apartment, putting together her best work, trying to make sure everything was perfect. She had always dreamed of showcasing her art, but it never felt like something that could actually happen. Now, with Liam's offer, it felt more real than ever. The day of the event arrived, and Lily found herself standing in front of the venue, her heart racing. The gallery was elegant, the kind of place she had only ever seen in magazines: white walls, soft lighting, and polished floors. It felt like a dream. She hesitated for a moment, unsure if she was really ready for this. What if no one likes my work? She thought. What if I make a fool of myself? But then, she remembered Liam's words, "I believe in you." Taking a deep breath, she walked inside. The room was filled with people, all admiring the art displayed on the walls. Lily felt a wave of nervousness wash over her as she stood by her pieces. But then she saw Liam across the room. He was standing with a group of people, but when he caught her eye, he gave her a small nod, a reassuring smile. It was as if he was silently telling her that everything would be okay. She smiled back, feeling a sense of calm wash over her. For the first time in a long time, Lily felt like she was exactly where she needed to be. As the night went on, she found herself talking to a few people who seemed genuinely interested in her work. They asked questions, complimented her, and it was everything she had dreamed of. Liam stayed nearby, quietly observing, and Lily could feel his presence like a steady anchor. After a while, the event started to wind down, and people began to leave. Liam approached her, his eyes warm as always. "How do you feel?" he asked, his voice soft but sincere. Lily hesitated for a moment, looking around at the emptying gallery. "I feel amazed," she said, her voice shaky with emotion. "I never thought this would happen, Liam. I honestly don't know how to thank you." He smiled, stepping a little closer. "You don't have to thank me, Lily. You did all the hard work. This is all because of you and your talent. I just gave you a little push." Lily looked at him, feeling a mix of gratitude and something else, something she hadn't expected. She had spent so much of her life thinking she was unworthy of success, too afraid to take risks, but Liam had made her believe that maybe, just maybe, she was capable of more than she realized. "You know," she said, her voice a little more confident now. "I used to think that art was just something I did for myself. But tonight, I saw it in a new way. Maybe I can actually make a living out of it. Maybe I can make a difference with my work." Liam's smile grew even wider. "I knew you had it in you," he said. "You're going to do great things, Lily." As the night ended, Lily packed up her things, feeling a sense of accomplishment she hadn't felt in years. The gallery was a success, but it was more than just a successful event. It was a turning point in her life. She realized that her dreams were not as far out of reach as she once thought. And it wasn't just because of the art show, it was because of Liam. He had shown her what was possible, and he had believed in her when she hadn't even believed in herself. But as she made her way to the door, she couldn't help but wonder, was there something more between them? She had started to feel a connection to him, something beyond just business or friendship. But she wasn't sure if he felt the same way. She didn't want to make assumptions, but it was hard not to think about it. She had never felt so seen, so understood, by anyone in her life. Just then, Liam walked up to her, breaking her thoughts. "Hey," he said softly, his voice filled with something unreadable. "I'm really proud of you." Lily felt her heart skip a beat. "Thank you, Liam," she whispered, her gaze lingering on him a little longer than usual. And in that moment, she realized something. Maybe this wasn't just about art. Maybe this was the beginning of something even more beautiful. As they exchanged one last smile, she couldn't help but feel that her life was about to change, in ways she never could have imagined. "I know it sounds unbelievable, But let me take you a step further. The days following the art show were a whirlwind for Lily. She couldn't quite believe how much had changed in such a short time. Her heart still fluttered every time she thought about the event, how the gallery had turned out better than she ever imagined, and how Liam had been there, encouraging her every step of the way. The success of the show gave her a new sense of purpose, a new drive to pursue her passion for art with everything she had. But there was something else she couldn't shake, something she hadn't expected to feel for Liam. The more she thought about it, the more she realized that her feelings for him went beyond gratitude or admiration. There was something there, something deeper that she wasn't ready to acknowledge. But the thought lingered in the back of her mind. It was late one evening when she received a message from Liam. "I'd love to take you out for dinner, if you're free." To celebrate the success of your show, Lily's heart skipped a beat. It wasn't just a business proposal or a polite gesture. This felt different. She hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to do. Was this a simple dinner between friends, or was there something more to it? Am I overthinking this? She wondered. She took a deep breath and quickly typed her reply. I'd love to. When and where? The restaurant was a cozy little spot on the edge of town, far from the glitzy venues Lily was used to. It had a rustic charm, dim lighting, and an intimate atmosphere that put her at ease. When she arrived, Liam was already there, sitting at a table by the window. He looked up as she entered, his face lighting up with that warm smile that always seemed to make her heart race. "Lily, I'm so glad you could make it," he said as he stood to greet her. She smiled back, trying to mask the flutter of nerves in her chest. "Of course," she replied. "This place looks amazing. I thought it'd be nice to get away from the usual crowds," Liam said, pulling out a chair for her. As they sat down, the conversation naturally flowed. They talked about everything, her art, his work, their childhood memories, even silly little things that made them laugh. But as the night went on, Lily couldn't help but feel the tension between them. It was subtle, but it was there. The way he looked at her, the way his voice softened when he spoke to her, it made her wonder if he was feeling the same connection she was. They ordered dinner, and as the food was brought to the table, Liam raised his glass. "To new beginnings," he said, his eyes meeting hers. "To everything you've accomplished, Lily." She clinked her glass against his, a little overwhelmed by the sincerity in his words. "Thank you, Liam," she said softly. "You've done so much for me, more than I could ever express." Liam leaned back in his chair, his gaze still focused on her. "I just want you to know that I'm proud of you. You've worked so hard to get to this point, and you deserve everything that's coming your way." Lily felt her cheeks flush. She had never been the type of person to accept compliments easily, but from Liam, it felt different. He wasn't just complimenting her art, he was acknowledging everything about her, all the struggles and the dreams she had kept hidden for so long. As they finished their meal, Liam stood up, offering his hand to her. "Shall we go for a walk?" he asked. Lily nodded, and they left the restaurant, walking together under the stars. The cool night air felt refreshing, and for the first time in a long time, Lily felt like she could breathe without the weight of doubt hanging over her. As they walked side by side, the silence between them wasn't uncomfortable, it was peaceful. Eventually, they stopped at a small park, and Liam turned to face her. "Lily," he began, his voice serious, "I've been thinking a lot about what we talked about before. About your dreams, your art, everything. I want to help you more. But I need to know something." Lily looked up at him, her heart pounding in her chest. "What is it?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. He took a step closer, his eyes searching hers. "Lily, I've been thinking about you a lot, and I need to know if there's a chance for us, a real chance. Not just because I believe in your art, but because I believe in you, because I can't ignore the way I feel about you." Lily felt her breath catch in her throat. Her mind raced, and for a moment, she couldn't speak. Everything she had been feeling, everything she had been trying to ignore, suddenly felt so real. She looked into his eyes and saw the sincerity there, the same sincerity that had made her feel so seen, so understood. "Liam," she began, her voice trembling slightly. "I don't know what to say." Liam reached out, gently taking her hand in his. "You don't have to say anything right now," he said softly. "I just needed you to know how I feel. Lily stood there for a moment, her heart racing, trying to process everything. She had never been good at opening up, at letting herself be vulnerable. But with Liam, it felt different. She felt safe. And maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something real. Something that wasn't just about art, but about two people who had found each other in the most unexpected way. I know this sounds like the start of something life-changing, and in a way, it was. After that night, everything between Lily and Liam changed. What had started as a business connection, something built on art and opportunity, had begun to grow into something more. As the weeks passed, they spent more time together, not just discussing art, but talking about everything life, their dreams, their fears. It was easy to be with him, and Lily found herself looking forward to their time together more and more. Every time she saw Liam, it was like the world slowed down. There was something about him, something that made her feel seen in a way she never had before. As much as she tried to deny it, she couldn't ignore the pull she felt toward him. She had always been guarded, too afraid to let anyone in. But with Liam, she felt different. He made her feel safe, comfortable, like she could finally open up and be herself. But even as she grew closer to him, there was a part of her that was hesitant. She had been through so much in her life, and letting someone in was never easy. She wasn't sure if she was ready for that kind of vulnerability. But then, one evening, as they walked through the city streets, Liam turned to her and said the words that Lily had been both hoping and dreading to hear. "Lily," he began, his voice soft, "I want you to know something. I've been thinking a lot about us, about everything we've shared, and I feel like I've found something really special with you. And I know we haven't talked about it much, but I just wanted to be honest with you." Lily felt her heart skip a beat as she looked up at him. She could see the sincerity in his eyes, the emotion behind his words. She had known, in the deepest part of her heart, that he felt the same way. "I feel the same," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. I'm scared, Liam. I don't want to mess this up." Liam stopped walking and turned to face her fully, gently taking her hands in his. "You don't have to be scared," he said softly. "I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to rush you, Lily. I just want to be with you. I want to see where this goes, without any pressure, without any expectations." Lily's breath caught in her throat as his words washed over her. It was exactly what she needed to hear. She had spent so long feeling like she was unworthy of love, like she didn't deserve happiness. But with Liam, everything felt different. She wasn't just his muse, his art partner, or the girl he was helping. She was Lily, and that was enough. They stood there for a moment, in the quiet of the night, just holding each other's hands. The world around them seemed to fade away, leaving only the two of them standing there, vulnerable but connected. Finally, Lily spoke again, her voice barely above a whisper. "I want to see where this goes too," she said, her eyes meeting his. I need time." Liam smiled, his grip on her hands tightening gently. "Take all the time you need. I'm here, Lily, and I'm not going anywhere." From that moment on, everything changed. The walls Lily had built around her heart began to crumble, piece by piece. She found herself trusting Liam more and more, allowing herself to be open in ways she had never done before. It wasn't always easy. There were moments of doubt, moments when she wondered if this was too good to be true. But with each passing day, she felt herself growing more confident, more certain that this was real. And as for Liam, he never wavered. He was patient, understanding, and supportive, always showing her that he was there for her, no matter what. It wasn't long before they began to spend more time together outside of work. They went to art exhibits, enjoyed quiet dinners, and even took weekend trips to the countryside. With every shared moment, their bond grew stronger, deeper, and more meaningful. But as their connection deepened, so did Lily's fear. She had been hurt before, and she wasn't sure if she could truly let herself go and fall in love. What if this all fell apart, she thought. What if he doesn't feel the same way in the end? But every time she started to pull back, Liam was there, reminding her that he wasn't going anywhere. And little by little, her fears began to fade. They had a special kind of love, one that was built on trust, honesty, and the kind of deep connection that most people only dream of. And just when Lily thought she had finally found peace, Liam surprised her once again. One evening, As they sat on the rooftop of his apartment, watching the city lights twinkle below, he turned to her with a serious expression. "Lily," he said softly, "I've been thinking about something for a while now, and I want to ask you something important." Lily's heart raced as she looked at him, unsure of what was coming. He took a deep breath, his gaze never leaving hers. "Lily, would you be my partner? Not just in art, but in life. I want to be with you. Will you be with me?" Lily felt a wave of emotion wash over her, her chest tight as she looked into his eyes. She had never been more certain of anything in her life. "Yes," she whispered, her voice full of emotion. "I want that too. I want to be with you." In that moment, she realized that the love she had been searching for all her life was right there in front of her. And it wasn't just the art or the success, it was the way Liam made her feel seen, valued, and loved, just as she was. I know it may sound like a fairy tale, but this story is far from over, and it's about to take a turn that neither Lily nor Liam could have predicted. After that night on the rooftop, everything felt like it was falling into place. They were no longer just two people navigating the complexities of life. They were partners, not just in art, but in every way that truly mattered. As the days passed, Lily's life seemed to brighten. She felt more confident, more alive than she ever had before. Her art was gaining recognition. Her dreams of opening a gallery seemed closer than ever, and she was falling in love with Liam, truly, deeply in love. They spent weekends exploring the city, visiting museums, and simply enjoying each other's company. They had become inseparable. However, despite the joy she felt, there was still a lingering sense of fear in Lily's heart. The kind of fear that she had carried with her for years. She had been hurt before, and the possibility of losing Liam, of him not feeling the same way, terrified her. There were moments when the doubt crept in, and she pulled back, just a little. But Liam was always there, steady and patient, offering her nothing but reassurance. "I'm here, Lily," he would say, his voice soft but firm. "I'm not going anywhere." It was these moments of tenderness that made her realize just how lucky she was. But as the months went by, something unexpected happened. Lily had just finished another successful art exhibit. Her work was being talked about in the art community, and she had finally secured a small studio to call her own. It was a dream come true, but it came with a price. She had become so focused on her work that she hadn't noticed how distant she had grown from Liam. She was still in love with him, more than ever. But she had buried herself so deeply in her art and ambitions that she forgot to nurture the relationship. Liam, for his part, was understanding, too understanding, sometimes. He didn't pressure her, but Lily could tell that something was shifting between them. One evening, as they sat at dinner, Liam looked at her, his expression serious. "Lily," he began, his voice gentle, "I can't help but notice that we've been spending less time together. I know how much your art means to you, but I don't want to lose what we have. I don't want to feel like I'm just another part of your life, something that comes after your work." His words hit her like a wave, and for the first time in a long time, Lily felt the weight of the distance she had unknowingly put between them. She had been so consumed with building her career, so focused on her own success, that she had neglected the very person who had supported her from the beginning. "Liam," she whispered, her voice trembling, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for you to feel that way. I never wanted to hurt you." Liam reached across the table, taking her hand in his. "I know you didn't, but I think it's important we talk about this. I want you to be happy, Lily. I want you to chase your dreams, but I don't want to be left behind." The guilt flooded her chest, and she looked down at their joined hands. "I don't want to lose you, Liam," she said softly. "I love you, more than anything, but I've been so afraid. Afraid that if I let myself get too comfortable, I'll lose everything I've worked for. I've been pushing you away because I didn't know how to balance both." Liam squeezed her hand, his eyes full of understanding. "Lily, you don't have to choose between me and your dreams. You don't have to do this alone, but you also have to let me in, to share this with me. I'm not asking you to sacrifice anything. I just want to be a part of your journey, not a stranger standing on the sidelines." For the first time in a long while, Lily felt a weight lift off her shoulders. She had been so afraid of failing, of not being enough, that she had pushed away the very person who made her feel whole. She realized that love and ambition didn't have to be separate, they could coexist. "I've been selfish," she said, her voice filled with emotion. I promise I won't push you away again. I want to share my life with you, Liam, just like you've shared yours with me." Liam smiled, his eyes shining with relief and love. "I'm not going anywhere, Lily. And I'm proud of you, proud of everything you've accomplished. I'm here for the long haul." That night, as they held each other close, Lily knew that the love they had was something rare, something beautiful. She had spent so much time running from love, afraid of losing herself, but now she understood. The love she shared with Liam wasn't a distraction from her dreams, it was the foundation that made them stronger. She didn't need to choose between love and ambition. With Liam by her side, she could have both. And that realization made all the difference in the world. I know this may sound like the conclusion of a perfect story, but it's just the beginning of something even more meaningful. After that conversation with Liam, everything changed. Lily realized that the balance between her dreams and her love for Liam wasn't something she had to fight for, it was something she could embrace. They began to build their future together, not just as partners in their art, but as partners in life. It wasn't always easy. There were times when Lily would get lost in her work, caught up in the hustle of making her dreams a reality. But every time that happened, Liam was there to remind her to slow down, to take a breath, and to savor the moments they shared. She had been so focused on proving herself for so long that she forgot to appreciate the love and support that surrounded her. Liam's patience, his unwavering belief in her, helped her realize that true success wasn't just about what she could achieve on her own, but about the people she had beside her. As the months passed, Lily's art continued to thrive, and her reputation in the art world grew. Her gallery was finally opening, and she could hardly believe it. It was everything she had dreamed of, and more. But as she stood in the gallery, looking at the walls adorned with her own paintings, she realized something: she wasn't alone in this moment. Liam had been there every step of the way, cheering her on, offering advice, and even investing in her work when she doubted herself. He was there, not because he had to be, but because he believed in her, and in them. One evening, after a long day at the gallery, they sat together in Liam's apartment, talking about the future. The weight of everything that had happened, all the changes, all the growth, felt both overwhelming and beautiful. "I can't believe this is happening," Lily said, her voice filled with gratitude. "It's everything I've worked for, everything I've dreamed about." Liam smiled, his eyes full of pride as he looked at her. "You did this, Lily. You made this happen. I'm just happy to be here with you, to see you live your dreams." She reached out and took his hand, holding it tightly. "I couldn't have done it without you," she said softly, her eyes locked with his. "You've been my rock, my support. You've always believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself." Liam squeezed her hand gently. "And I always will, Lily. You're everything I never knew I needed. You've taught me that love isn't just about the big gestures, but the little things we do for each other every day." As they sat there, hand in hand, Lily realized that this was her life, now one filled with love, art, and the belief that anything was possible with the right person by her side. She had come so far, from a struggling waitress to an artist with her own gallery, but the biggest transformation had been within herself. She had learned to believe in love, in herself, and in the possibility of a future where she didn't have to choose between her dreams and her heart. A few weeks later, after a quiet evening at the gallery, Liam took her hand again and led her outside. The air was crisp, the city lights twinkling around them as they walked down the street. "There's something I've been meaning to ask you," he said, his voice gentle but filled with meaning. Lily looked up at him, a little confused. "What is it?" she asked, her heart racing. Liam stopped walking, turning to face her. He looked deep into her eyes, and for a moment, everything else seemed to fade away. "Lily," he began, his voice steady but full of emotion. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life. You are the love of my life. Will you marry me?" Lily's breath caught in her throat as she stared at him, her heart pounding in her chest. It was the moment she had dreamed of, but never truly expected to come. She had always been afraid to let herself fall in love, afraid of being hurt, afraid of losing herself. But here she was, standing in front of the man who had shown her that love could be everything she had ever wanted and more. She didn't need to think twice. "Yes," she whispered, tears welling in her eyes. "Yes, Liam, I will marry you." The world seemed to stand still as Liam smiled, his face lighting up with joy. He reached for her, pulling her into his arms as they stood there in the middle of the street, under the stars. In that moment, Lily knew that everything she had ever dreamed of was now within her reach. She had found her place in the world, and it was with Liam. They had built something beautiful together, a life based on love, trust, and the belief that anything was possible when you had someone by your side who truly believed in you. I know you've been waiting for the final chapter, and here it is, where love and dreams intertwine, creating the most beautiful ending. After that magical proposal, Lily and Liam's life together took on a new meaning. It wasn't just about building their futures separately anymore. They were now building them together. Every day felt like a new adventure, full of promise and hope. The wedding was everything Lily had ever dreamed of, simple yet full of love. It wasn't a grand affair, but it was perfect in its own way. They exchanged vows under the soft glow of candlelight, surrounded by their closest friends and family. The ceremony was intimate. The words they spoke to each other filled with the weight of everything they had been through, everything they had overcome to get to this point. Liam's voice was steady as he spoke his vows, but his eyes glistened with emotion. "Lily," he said, "you are the greatest gift I've ever received. I promise to stand by you, to support you, and to love you no matter where life takes us. With you, I am home." Lily felt a lump form in her throat as she looked at him, her heart swelling with love. "Liam," she said, her voice trembling with emotion, "you've taught me to believe in myself, in love, and in the beauty of every moment. I promise to stand by you, to be your partner in every way, and to love you for all the days of our lives." As they exchanged rings, the world around them seemed to disappear, leaving only the two of them standing there, joined together in a way that felt both eternal and deeply personal. The reception that followed was filled with laughter, dancing, and heartfelt speeches. Lily couldn't help but feel a sense of fulfillment. She had everything she had ever wanted: love, a successful career, and the most amazing partner to share it all with. But it wasn't just about the success they had achieved, it was about how they had grown together, how they had nurtured their relationship, and how they had learned to balance love and ambition. In the years that followed, Lily and Liam continued to support each other, both in their personal lives and in their work. Lily's art flourished, with her gallery becoming a hub for emerging artists, a place where creativity and community came together. She never stopped dreaming, and with Liam by her side, she achieved more than she had ever imagined. But it wasn't just her career that flourished, her relationship with Liam grew deeper as well. They traveled the world together, finding new inspirations for Lily's art and creating memories that would last a lifetime. They had their share of challenges, of course, but they faced them together, always leaning on each other for support. As they stood together, hand in hand, watching the sunset from their favorite spot, Lily realized something: love wasn't just about the grand gestures or the big moments. It was about the quiet, everyday moments they shared. The morning spent talking over coffee, the evening spent walking hand in hand, and the moments of vulnerability where they could just be themselves, without fear or judgment. Liam looked at her, his eyes soft and full of affection. "I'm so proud of everything we've accomplished, Lily," he said. "Not just in our careers, but in our lives together. You've shown me what it means to truly live." Lily smiled, her heart full. "I couldn't have done it without you," she replied. "You've been my rock, my support, and my greatest love. Thank you for being with me through it all." As they stood there, together, looking out at the horizon, Lily knew that they had found something rare, a love that had stood the test of time, that had grown stronger with each passing day. They had learned that love wasn't about perfection, it was about choosing each other, every day, in every moment. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, they knew that this was just the beginning of their journey together. A journey full of love, adventure, and the promise of a future they would build side by side. Together, they had found the most beautiful thing of all: a love that would last a lifetime. In this touching love story, a talented artist and a successful millionaire find their lives forever changed by a twist of fate. This heartwarming journey unfolds as they navigate their personal and professional challenges, building a connection that transforms them both. A young waitress with big dreams meets a millionaire who sees potential in her art, and as their lives become intertwined, the power of love and trust shines through. As we explore the ups and downs of their relationship, this story becomes one of the most captivating millionaire stories, showcasing how love and ambition can coexist and flourish. Their journey is a testament to the power of believing in each other, showing that with the right support, dreams can come true. As the couple grows together, overcoming obstacles and celebrating successes, their story mirrors many other inspiring millionaire stories, where finding love can change the course of life. From a simple blind date to a life full of love, art, and shared dreams, their tale is a perfect example of how two people can lift each other up. As we follow their emotional journey, it becomes clear that love, trust, and mutual support are what make the best millionaire stories so unforgettable. Through moments of self-doubt, breakthroughs, and heartwarming commitments, this story of love, success, and happiness will resonate with anyone who believes in the power of a love story that defies expectations.